A transgender woman is suing a Manhattan yoga studio for $5 million after being asked to exit the women's locker room and use the men's facilities.
The lawsuit says, quote, female patrons complained and yelled at the plaintiff about the plaintiff's presence and use of the single-sex locker room and bathroom labeled women. And they demanded plaintiff leave and cease using the facilities. Plaintiff's use of the single-gender locker room and bathroom labeled men made plaintiff suffer shame, humiliation, and frustration. Ron Coleman's an attorney, and Ron joins us now. Ron, based upon what the law says, does this person have a case?
It is entirely possible that reading the strict letter of the law that this person has a case.
So, a witness in the locker room told the New York Post, we have other transgender people at Chelsea Hot Yoga. We have several trans women and several trans men, and there's never been a problem. It's this individual. Now, that was for a witness. What's it showing you that the fact, there's other lawsuits that this individual has too. So what does that signify from a law standpoint to you?
Well, from a legal standpoint, that is in and of itself insignificant. If someone is litigious because that person, avoiding use of the pronoun, likes to bring lawsuits to vindicate that person's rights, that isn't in and of itself significant from a common sense standpoint that tells you something is going on. But something's going on anyway that isn't necessarily what most of us would be going on in our lives.
Yeah.
You just said that this person could have a case based upon the letter of the law. So if I'm a business in New York City and I'm getting slammed in 2020 with COVID restrictions, and now I'm getting slammed with inflation, how do I run a business under these circumstances where now I need to anticipate a completely new area of the law, and if I don't do it by the book, by the letter of the law, I could get sued?
Well, there's going to have to be decisions made. Either the decisions are going to be made in the New York legislature, state legislature, because one of the claims here is under the state human rights law, or the city council, because 3 of the claims are under the city human rights law, or it will have to be made by a judge. One of the things that makes this case a little bit different, again, under the strict letter of the law, it might appear that this person has a claim. Whether it's a $5 million claim, frankly, is a little bit more of a question. But at a certain point, there's going to have to be a judge somewhere. Whether that judge is in New York City is a serious question, who's going to say, there's a sham issue here. There's a legitimacy issue here. Not every person that claims to be a woman and wants to get into a woman's locker room should necessarily be allowed to do so. That's going to be an issue.
Yeah, and another thing is you said that lawsuits like this, they're going to become more normal. Why?
Well, there's nothing normal going on.
Well, it would be more prevalent, I should say.
Yes. Why? The answer is because, as you guys put it in your introduction, it's a $5 million lawsuit. That's what makes it normal, is that unless and until lawyers are able to get the message, a certain category of lawyers that likes to bring lawsuits like this, that they're not going to get the kind of money they're looking for, and there is no $5 million recovery here. That much I can assure you. Even though New York is very comfortable writing very large checks for political reasons, this isn't going to be one of them. It's not going to be a $5 million case. But unless and until a judge somewhere says, this is not what the human rights law was meant to protect. And again, as you point out, this person seems to have a habit of looking for this kind of trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you would think that having a single-gender bathroom would be the end of it. I understand in the allegations in the plaintiff's case, this individual said they were screamed at when using the single-gender, single-sex locker room, if I'm reading that correctly. But doesn't a single-gender bathroom just kind of make all lawsuits potentially moot?
Well, there was obviously a reason that the people in the locker room were screaming at this individual.
Got it.
At some point, there's going to have to be pushback from women.
Yep. And I've been saying that, you know, and at what point are the women's outcries going to take precedent in this situation, too? I just wonder, I mean, this could be a yes or no response, but I know the business is the one being sued, but do the women who were affected or in that situation, do they have any legal standpoint?
That's a great question, because if you read the pleadings, you would have the impression that the lawsuit is against the women who were screaming.
Right.
They are the most active people, the most offended people, understandably. They're the most naked people, right?
Right.
So they're the ones whose dignity is being impinged on. There is no claim against them, and strictly speaking, if a lawyer like this wanted to bring a claim against those people, it could be brought, because two of the claims here are in the nature of aiding and abetting, or in, you know, these sort of.
It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I was just very curious about that.
Pandora's box, Ron Coleman. Thank you. We'll have you back when we get the next one of these cases.